Hello and welcome. If you haven't seen me before, I'm Simon Henry, and this is where we gather and talk all things yarn craft. If you're a frequent visitor, welcome back. You're becoming like family now. So today I'm going to do as promised. We're going to have a little look again at cashmere yarn from Temu. If you've seen some of the older videos, you'll see that I did do a review on some cashmere yarn, cashmere in inverted commas yarn that I bought from Temu, and it was a very popular one, and I've had requests, people asking me what cashmere yarn they should buy and use from Temu. So before we get all the hate like we had last time, I don't care, send it, it's fine. Temu don't manufacture anything themselves. Temu is a sales platform very similar to other sales platforms like Amazon, etc., etc. And they partner with manufacturers, and the manufacturers send goods directly to the consumer. So people who say Temu use child labour, Temu kill the rabbits to make Angora, all kinds of strange things I've heard. Temu don't do any of that. Temu is just a sales platform like everything else. The reason that often things are so cheap on there is that they just cut out all the middlemen. So there's no agent, no wholesaler, no retailer. All of those people normally would take their cut. So if you're going to buy from Temu, just have a little check. You will see, I'll just put it up here and show you. Depending on where you are, here in the UK, there has to be a responsible person that takes responsibility to make sure that you're getting what is advertised. And you'll see on all of the adverts on there, you can have a little look at that. You can also find out who the manufacturer is. You can do a little bit of research yourself, but don't just believe everything that you see on other things. All kinds of things I've seen. Oh dear. Just Google Temu and see what comes up. You'll be amazed what people say without doing any actual research on the subject. So I, as everybody who's seen me before know, that I used to design for lots of high street stores as well as top designer brands, and have used cashmere quite a lot, and went to have a look at where it comes from. The majority of cashmere used in the industry is made in China, Mongolia or Pakistan. People say that the cashmere goats aren't treated very well and all this kind of stuff. In my experience and from what I saw personally, the goats were treated really well. In fact, in Pakistan, the joke was that the herdsmen treated their goats better than they did their grandma, which actually they did. If anybody knows anything about the production of cashmere, there are several grades. The cashmere raw material is taken from the goat by combing. It's not shaved. They don't skin the goats. The herdsmen look after their goats pretty well, because a happy, well-fed, well-watered, well-looked after goat will produce the best cashmere. So it's not in the herdsman's interest to mistreat it. And okay, there are instances where, you know, there's been recordings and all kinds of stuff of goats being mistreated. That's not in general what happens. There are going to be people that disagree with me. That's fine. I've actually seen it with my own eyes firsthand, and I can only go on my personal experience. So before we get into the reviews, I ordered quite a lot of different types or different makes of cashmere from Temu, and I tested them all. I did a burn test on all of them. I did a Procyon dye test, if anybody knows about that. I discarded the ones that I thought was a bit dodgy and didn't feel quite right. I also discarded the ones that, if they claimed it was 100% cashmere and it showed up that there was something else in there, I also discarded those. So I've found 3 that I really like, and look at the price, have a little go, see what you think, and make up your own mind. That's all I can say. So when we do the tests, what we actually look for is, number one, is it natural fibre? So the first thing we'll do is do a burn test on that particular yarn. If it burns and turns to ash, more often than not, that is then a natural fibre. It could be wool, it could be cashmere, it could be angora, it could be all kinds of things, but all it tells us is that that's natural fibre. If it's not a natural fibre, what it will do, it'll shrivel up and melt, and often kind of create little hard balls where it's melted. It doesn't turn to ash. So that indicates straight away that there's something not quite right about that. The majority of cashmere that we buy to work with in industry does have some man-made fibre in there, usually polyester, sometimes acrylic, sometimes nylon. And the main reason for that is we're putting it through high-speed machines, and cashmere by its very nature is quite a weak yarn. It pulls apart really very easily. So quite often we'll mix it with something just to strengthen that yarn. So you've seen, probably if you've looked on Temu, you've seen where they send a ball of what they say is cashmere, and then they'll send a little cone of something else with it to mix with it. This is exactly what we do in industry. This is extremely strong. This isn't. This will pull apart very easily. Also, what we're looking for with cashmere, by the way, can you see how long that strand is there? I don't know if you can see that. So when it's woven, we're looking for long fibres in cashmere. That means it's a quality one. So we would work with these two things together. When I was putting this through the machine, even a domestic machine at home, I used to spend ages winding it off onto a separate ball and mixing it as I kind of went along. I've since found there's actually no need to do that. You can just run both things through the machine at the same time. That's entirely up to you. So this one was the first one that I had a look at. I'm going to have a little look and see. That was £13.68 for 6 balls, so just over £2 a ball, and this comes with it. For Cashmere, that's an incredible price. It's definitely natural fibre. This is definitely all natural fibre. There's no man-made in this particular ball. Obviously this is all a man-made fibre. I can't say exactly what it is. It might not be cashmere, however it feels gorgeous. It really does. These things that I buy from Temu, case in point, I only use for myself, or if I'm knitting things for gifts or whatever. I don't use it in my couture business. I buy that from a source that I can guarantee it is what they say it is. However, the stuff that I buy from there feels identical to this. This feels like it might be the real McCoy. So this is one of them. It knits beautifully, it crochets beautifully, it washes well. With cashmere, I would suggest either dry clean or hand wash. I wouldn't put it in the washing machine. I have done, but you're taking a bit of a risk there. Dry flat, don't press it. It said you can do a cool iron, but I would say not. Just hand wash it, dry it flat, or have it dry cleaned. So number one, good value, feels gorgeous, goes through the machine, hand knits, hand crochets. It's a good all-round yarn. So number two is this one. Just let me have a little look and see what the price was on that. That was £16.81 for 8 balls of this. It also came with little cones to put with it. Feels almost identical. The tests came out identical to the first one. Passed the burn test, passed the Procyon dye test. Procyon dye test, by the way, for those who don't know, there are some dyes that only take on natural fibre and some dyes that only take on man-made fibre, and there are some dyes that will take on both. So it's really quite easy if you use a dye that, for example, is only designed to take and work on natural fibres. If you knit a bit and plunge it in, if it doesn't take on it, then you'll know that it's not a natural fibre. And the other way around, you can also test for man-made fabrics like that as well. Quite often as well in the past, I have dip dyed garments after I've made them, knowing full well that it was, in this particular instance, 100% silk. But what I forgot to look at was I'd actually used polyester thread. So the garment dyed, but the polyester thread came out a completely different colour. I learned that lesson. I always say with these things, when I've made those mistakes, don't ask me how I know. Well, that's how I know I've made those mistakes. So this one, yes, good value. Works out about the same price as that one. The feel of it is ever so slightly softer than that one. So depends what you're looking for. So the third one and final one, this was, let's have a look. It was 12 pieces for £22. So again, it was around the same price. However, this just came as it is, it didn't come with the little cone of yarn to mix with it. When I did the burn test on it, it did appear that it had got a tiny little bit of something man-made in it. So what I imagine, what I suspect, is this is come already mixed with the yarn to make it strong. Went through the machine beautifully, crocheted beautifully, hand knitted beautifully. I find that cashmere is quite difficult to knit on metal needles because they're too slidey and slippy. So either used carbonized bamboo or birch needles. They're the best ones to use on cashmere. So I actually then, just to show you what I can do with it, I've got a thing here that was, I call it a French cardigan. These are really popular with my couture clients, so I just kind of whipped up one of those on the machine just to see how it went. I didn't have a single breakage in the balls themselves. All three of these, there wasn't a single knot in the ball. That's really annoying, especially those machine knitters out there. You'll know that if you're knitting along and you come across a knot in it, that can cause some problems. The stitch definition was really good, so I could see the stitches really well to pick them up, and worked out at about, I think when I worked it out, it was, I think, about 1/10 of the price. The cashmere that I buy from the supplier that I know, it was about 1/10 of the price of that it worked out at. So if you're knitting for yourself, if you're knitting for friends, I would recommend buying these. If you're going to knit commercially, because we don't know absolutely 100% what's actually in there, then I would suggest not. So that's been that. Hopefully you'll take something away from this. From an ethical point of view, it's up to you to decide yourself if you want to buy from Temu. I don't have any problems with it. I've never had any problems with what I've bought. I only ever had to send one thing back. That's because it was damaged in transit, and there was no problem at all. They credited the money straight away, and they actually sent a voucher for future things to apologise for the problem, even though actually it wasn't them that had caused it. So like I say, ethically it's entirely up to you. I go and have a look. A thing that you'll see in a few videos ago, I actually also went to have a look at things on Temu and then did a little bit of research and found exactly the same things from the same manufacturers on Amazon, but it was 4 or 5 times the price on there. So again, that's entirely up to you. You decide who you want to buy from. So hope you've liked this video. If you have, please like and subscribe. To subscribe is absolutely free, but it really does help out the channel. If you want to have a little look at my Patreon site over there, you can join as a paid member, and then you'll get access to all of the patterns that are on there that people would normally have to pay for. There's a new one coming up very shortly. Funnily enough, that's in the wash now. It's just having its finishing wash, and then that will be on there probably next week, so the Patreon people, watch out for that. And in the meantime, happy yarnsmithing, love as always, and I'll see you really soon. Bye bye.